Welcome to Hairstreamtv in NYC. Thank you so much for stopping by.
I'm heading over to B&H's conference to the Yorker Hotel. I'm going to check out depth of field. So thanks so much for watching. Don't forget to subscribe and like.
You have one on?
No, sir.
Yeah. I mean, a lot.
Oh, I didn't need it, but it has to be. I didn't need anything.
Let's have one piece of advice for the beginning photographer. You can give them one piece of advice for the beginning photographer.
Alright, is somebody coming?
Okay, go ahead.
Don't doubt yourself. I think I was so doubtful at the beginning, and if I could, I always get this, if you could go back and tell the person that started, like, what would you say? I'd be like, stop that. Why are you doing that? Stop doubting yourself. You know, just stop that. Go out and do it. I would probably make sure my SEO on my website was cranking. Organic SEO.
Okay. All right. Definitely a lot of digital marketing and some good homegrown grassroots marketing there. Okay, this is a question for the wedding photographers there. And do you find yourself shooting more elopements currently? Or what's your ratio between elopements and traditional weddings?
I did when I started, but I don't think I've shot. I don't know.
Well, you're in the divorce market.
Divorce photographer. I wonder if that might be a revenge portrait. I love it. How about there? Are you shooting elopements at all, or no?
Yeah, I would say maybe 90% regular weddings and 10%.
Almost no change. I hardly ever shoot elopements. I never really wanted to shoot them very often. They just randomly pop up. I probably do 3 or 4 a year. So it's compared to like 40 weddings.
Traditional weddings it is. Which that might be, last year we had a couple that shot elopements almost exclusively. So that might be some good, all these top pros are not really doing elopements. Maybe capitalizing that, maybe doing
Brands, wildlife photographer, fantastic. Close second is Matt Stewart. He's a street photographer. He's out of London, I believe, so in the UK.
Before you answer, I just want to throw out Nick Brandt. Funny that you should say that, because the next big event that I'm producing, along with Katrin, is Nick Brandt at SVA Theater on February 19th.
It's like Tuesday.
Tuesday. 19th. Let's check the calendar. So if you go to the bhphoto.com/event space, it's listed there as an event, and you can register for that. It's going to be pretty incredible. Okay. So if you're going to, Sam, we'll get you out here for it.
That'd be awesome.
Have you ever met him?
No.
Is that what this is now? I have a whole list.
Pick one, I really
So we're talking about photography influences, right? We're
This
not
is
talking
your
about
photo influence.
Yeah, photo influences. And just one. If I should be honest and pick one, it will be Steve McCurry. And not just because of how his images, I really love his connections. It's just the fact that he's so well traveled.
I met with Todd and Jamie Brankman in Atlanta and did a brand investment and branding workshop with them, and that was like, that changed the way I do business, that changed who I am. That's why I am. That's what I'd say.
Yeah, I don't think that's really a hard question, because obviously, Katrin just, listed out the grades. But, the reason I say Abaddon, it was in the poster shops that were prevalent in the malls where I grew up. Nastasia Kinski and the Serpent was this beautiful horizontal shot that Abaddon shot. And as a kid, that photograph made me want to be a photographer. It's like, Nastasia Kinski is beautiful, and she's naked, and there's a snake going around her. What's going on? It's a story, it's beauty, it's fashion, it's everything. It's all wrapped up into one shot. Okay, so going back to the way this whole question thing started, if you have one piece of advice for a veteran photographer, for someone who's been at it, and the reason why I want to ask you this question is that in dealing with many photographers, especially in the wedding and portrait world, I'm not going to mention any names, but I've had dinner with a gentleman, and he was like, I can't stand photography. To him, wedding photography was strictly a business. He inherited it from it was in his family, and I was like, wow, how could you not love the sound of a shutter clicking? And he was like, because I like mirrorless cameras now, and I don't hear a shutter clicking. But anyway, so advice for a veteran photographer.
For a veteran photographer, I would say no matter how experienced you are, always keep learning. Everyone always has something that they can contribute. You can always grow and evolve. Never feel like you've made it to the top.
So, what is your question again? Just repeat
The
it.
question is, so he asked what advice you can give a beginning photographer. What advice would you give a veteran photographer?
That is really tough. I don't know if this exactly answers the question, but I find that the longer people are in the business, the less they invest in connections, typically on social media. I try and reach out to absolutely everybody that engages me, be it personal messages, emails, whatever, just to acknowledge that they exist in the world and thank you for paying attention to my work. And oftentimes I reach out to other photographers that have long been established and massive followings, and I just never hear back, and that's a bummer. And I don't know, maybe they do take time to reconnect with people that support their work, but I think so often you eventually reach a point where you think you've risen above that, and I don't know that you ever really do, or that you should. But yeah, that's sort of my half answer.
Okay, I think I know what I'm going to say now. Attend a workshop, like one of our workshops. Like someone said, you can't stop learning, and I think I have a certain standard of proficiency with Photoshop. I'm not an expert, but I attended a veterans workshop, and he was doing certain things with his edits, and I was like, why are you doing it that way? He's like, because that's the way to get it done. And I was like, do you know that there was a shortcut to getting it done? I was like, what do you mean? And then I did it to him, I was like, oh, and everyone in the class said, maybe we should learn from him instead. But the point is, you never know everything, and I think that would be my advice to anyone who's a veteran. Like, just go out there and learn from people that you think you know a lot more from. So it's kind of what you're saying, in a sense, like, you don't know a lot about Instagram or about social media, and some kid who is an expert in social media. I personally, every time I have to do something with social media, I speak to like my nephews and nieces and ask them, what is the latest trend? And then they say, oh, you should do this. There's this thing called a floss, which I've been trying to learn. So now I'm thinking I'm going to get couples to do that. Like, have you heard of the floss? That kind of thing. So, boomerang. That's like last year, man. Like,
For a veteran photographer.
I would say remember why you started. Because I think sometimes we get caught up in making sure we make the revenue, and we do this and we do that, and if we lose our passion, we get burned out and we sit in isolation. And so I think sometimes we have to really remember why we actually started this business or this hobby that we just happened to pick up in the first place.
This one's like directed at myself. Because I talk to myself all the time. And I would say to myself, I'm like, will you go out and shoot something new, please? Like, come up with something new, go shoot a project, shoot something, come up with an idea and actually go out.
Will you second shoot for me? Hey, Lisa, you should come second shoot for me sometime.
Goodness. I did some weird, crazy stuff where I would shoot other areas that I'm not used to shooting. Like I'm a football fan, but I'm not a sports shooter. So last year I got to shoot the Giants, the Giants game, and the Raiders and the 49ers, and Terrell Lloyd was there, and I was like fish out of water, and I was running around. I got blisters on my feet, my knees were so wet, and then some guy caught a pass near me, and I went on the TV, and on the screen you see the TV go by, and I was laying down on the sidelines. It's on my Instagram, you gotta go check it out. So it was so much fun and I loved it, but I was like, how do these guys do this? And I'm on the sidelines and the sports photographer going, what the heck are you doing here?
Okay, great. I like that's a personal project though. That's a big one. I think we pros forget to take something that isn't necessarily revenue generating, but something. I tried to teach myself droning.
Project. It's something that's outside my box that I think could be in my box to make money. So I just always thinking entrepreneurially, although the personal projects turn into the big money jobs anyway. So it's either or, but I always have trouble getting my brain wrapped around a personal project. But I can wrap it around, I can shoot this and do a portfolio with that, and that would be cool.
Okay, so while you have the microphone, this is going to be a quick one, a simple yes or no. This is a tech question. Peter Hurley, do you shoot in auto ISO or you shoot in a fixed ISO?
Fixed.
Katrin Eismann, do you shoot in auto ISO or a fixed ISO?
And both, depending on the situation.
What's the situation?
Well, the studio with strobe has got to be fixed, right? Okay, and then, but if I'm, sort of casually walking down the street, these cameras are so darn good at doing exposure, and the idea of, you have to shoot the lowest ISO, that's like been thrown out the window. And it's like, just get the shot, oh no, but it's 6400, you can shoot it on. Take off the lens cap.
It's true. It's a new feature of the Sony. Lens cap mode. Back in the day, you could shoot your Leica M3 with a lens cap on, and you'd never know it until you process the film.
I would find a mentor, because imitation turns into inspiration, and it gives yourself permission. Okay?
Somebody write that down. It's like imitation.
Imitation can turn into inspiration. And so you learn by looking at the masters, and you photograph what you recognize, so the more you study and look, you see it, and then you go, I shouldn't take that picture because of Bresson did. I shouldn't take that picture because that's Hurley. I shouldn't. And that's that voice. The only good thing that voice is for is if you're standing at the edge of a very tall cliff. That's when I'm listening to it. And so, but I think finding a mentor, because that person could really, it's good to pattern yourself after a positive role model.
I think for me, I would say definitely trust your process, because I think when we get started, we want a microwave process, and it really needs to be a crock pot.
Getting gems here, guys. Getting gems.
These are all amazing. Wow. I would say understand what fires you up and what makes you happy, and get clear on your vision so that when things come and hit you from all different directions, you're steadfast and you can easily say yes or no. Just hone in on that. Know who you are. Embrace it.
I'll echo the same thing that I just heard, get a mentor. I think when people ask me that question, if I had to do it all over again, what would I do differently? I think I would definitely seek out someone who had a bit more experience, at least in the field, and get him to offer me some guidance. That's what I would do.
I actually, yeah, I would consider Ryan Brenheiser was probably my mentor originally. Just to give you a real life example, you know, and I think a lot of people have this fear that, you know, well, then won't my work maybe turn out looking exactly like that person's, and maybe I feel like I'm more of an individual than that, but I don't think my work looks anything like Ryan's, at least not anymore, and that's a direct example I can tell you. But I would say my initial answer really goes back to the equipment side of things. I was constantly fixated on like, okay, I'm plateaued, I can't get any better unless like, you know, if I get that 85, 1.4, then I'm going to be ready to capture all the dynamic environments that I need. If I get that 14mm wide lens, then I'm going to have this epic wide shots. And I was always hung up on the equipment being the limitation, completely forgetting the fact that, you know, my perspective on the world, my mind, and other parts of the process. You know, it matters, but it is not what is holding you back. So.
That's the silver bullet complex. So yeah.
As you can see, I have a background in music. I was obsessed and wanted to be a record producer forever. I have about 56 microphones. Every new one I buy, I'm like, well, if I spend a little more, maybe then I'll actually sit down and record. Never happens.
B&H likes that.
Well, that's part of the problem. You just needed one more microphone. Okay, I have another question that's in line with this, but I'm going to circle to a question that corresponds to that mentor, and we go down the line, and we'll start with Peter, and it's who is your largest influence? Single photographer that's your biggest influence?
Bruce Weber. Bruce and sorry. I mean, everybody, yeah, so my story is I was training for the Olympics in the sport of sailing. I raced sailboats, and Polo was doing an ad campaign, and they needed real sailors, and I got the job, and I showed up on the set, and this crazy photographer started running around and jumped up and down, and I met him, and he photographed me, and I had a great time, and it was amazing. And then we became friends, and I came back to the city, and he invited me out to dinner, and we hung out, and we started talking, and then he sent me over to a modeling agency, and I got a modeling agency, and then it was tough for a couple of years because the modeling agency like kicked me, and they're like, you're not good looking enough. The woman told me, that she goes, you can't do print, you're not good looking enough, you gotta get out of here. That's what she said to me. I was like, oh my God, I feel terrible. I didn't think I was that good looking anyway, but then these Polo ads came out, and I had all this work, all these prints, and I was like, this is not, I'm modeling in these pictures. So I went to Bruce, and I said, Bruce, they kicked me out. And he goes, let me take some more pictures of you. I'll send you somewhere else. I was like, okay, so we did more pictures, and he sent me somewhere else. Ended up having a great modeling career. For 5 years as a model, and I know this is taking a moment, but for 5 years as a model, I had no idea I was going to pick up a camera. I modeled for 5 years with all the most amazing photographers, paid no attention, fell asleep on set, didn't know what a light was, didn't know why a camera's pointed this direction, know nothing. And Bruce was like, why don't you pick up a camera, pick up a camera, pick up a camera. He encouraged me, I picked up a camera, and look what happened. I mean, I really owe it all to Bruce. So.
Thank you, Bruce. Katrin? Well, just one.
No, I mean, I'm inspired by so many different things. Depends on the subject matter of the teachers, but I'm really inspired by my students. Well, yeah, because in a way, as a teacher, the most important thing you do is you give them permission. Like very, you know, then moving up to contemporary. Sig Harvey, amazingly deep thinker, fabulous photographer. She photographs her daughter most of the time, her golden retriever. They're perfect. So, you know, I'm inspired and curious by way too many things. So, but when I go back to students, it's because they're something you're not good at. You experience that feeling of, I have no idea what I'm doing, and that just puts you down to size. Like really, really quickly. Because sometimes when you're like the best and the biggest, you get a little full of yourself, and that's never a good thing to be. So, you know, learn knife skills, learn encaustic printing, learn crocheting, something that you're just not good at. And I think it can really help you sort of get centered again.
I think for me, that's a very difficult question because, and so to this point, I would have to say like Deborah Willis and because those are the trailblazers. And so when I go there's only, 2 books that exist on Black female photographers, literally. And so for me, gaining the wisdom from them and being able to.
What's your ISO that usually you're set at?
Probably about 50 or 100. Oh, actually something.
50 or 100, traditional.
And for me, I'm saying mostly auto, because things are happening so quickly at my weddings and lots of movement.
Fixed, I just use 2 ISOs, one indoors and one outdoors.
And those ISOs are?
400 and 6400.
That is crazy. Never thought of shooting that way ever. I use generally auto ISO when I have no control, so when I'm documenting, and then fixed ISO when I have control. Maybe a couple of this and
Still a tech question. Okay, this is for the audience. Is it ISO or is it ASA? I just want to see a show of hands here. So this is going to be a very neutral one, so get ready. If you have the answer to this, raise your hand. What does ISO stand for?
International Standards Organization.
Okay, so we have a $100 gift card for you. And we'll give you a $1,000 one, okay. That's close. It's all about zeros. Okay.
one thing participate.
Well, thank you. Okay. All right, so we're moving along here, and we're ready for this one. What is your biggest challenge in 2019, Sam Burke? New year, new challenge.
I need a second. The biggest challenge.
Your biggest challenge in 2019?
I haven't written this down. I have no resolutions.
Can we just go when we're ready? So that
Yeah.
Okay.
Go.
Think about it.
Yeah.
Peter, what's your biggest challenge in 2019?
I race sailboats, so I was training for the Olympics, like you might have heard. And in 2000, I stopped sailing, and then I got old. And when you turn 45, you become a master. And I went to the World Championships, and I got second in my age category. So the next year, I was like, all right, this guy is going down. So last year I spent 80, so I also decided that I was gonna live a lifestyle where I can make money as a photographer and doing all the different sources, running the way I make my money through multiple sources of income, and I'm gonna go sailing whenever I want. So last year I spent 80 days on the water, and I went to the World Championship and I got 5th. And I was so sure I was gonna be a world champion. And I lost my mind because I got 5th. So then this year, now I got to, because last year it was so much, my goal was to be a world champion and figure out how to make money and still be a world champion so I can live my life the way that I want. So this year, my brain is like mush because I'm like, well, that didn't work out last year. I can't have the same goal this year. Do I go for winning the world champion, still trying to, or do I focus on my business, which took a hit because 80 days on the water, I'm not shooting, right? Or do I go back? And so my challenge is, do I go back to my photography and try and, work on my website, work on my, or do I go sailing? It's just a problem.
Your biggest challenge in 2019?
So, okay, the biggest challenge for anyone in 2019 is to make it to 2020. But for me, I know my biggest challenge is I do like personal projects, but I have a full-time job. So I get home at 8 o'clock at night, I'm not like, yay, let's go shoot, because I'm rather open a bottle of wine. And so my biggest challenge is to find those blocks of time. I know I need 3, 4, 5, 6 weeks, but not on the water. And so I could do 2 personal projects last year, and they really made me grow, and I loved it, and I'm like, I need to find that time.
I think for me, it's probably a bit more being present in my life and in my family's life. And so for me, it's just making sure people think that there's this such thing as called work-life balance. It doesn't really exist. And so just trying to make where I am that happy place for me.
I have a pretty hopeful solution to this. It's so silly. It's this thing you can buy. It's called the K-Safe. And I think it was a Kickstarter campaign. And it sounds maybe a little extreme or silly, but it actually works. And I think it's mostly meant for kind of sticking to a diet. But essentially, it's a plastic box, has a top. You set a timer. It can be a number of hours, minutes, or days. And the box stays locked. There is no override. You would have to take a hammer, take a drill to get into this box. And I put my phone in that every evening, most evenings, and there is a complete different mental path that my mind takes when I know I don't even have the temptation of my phone and my iPad and my laptop around me. It actually makes a difference. It's something called K-Safe. I don't work for them. I swear I just bought one, and I just figured it'd be a fun thing to try, and it freaking works. There's no override. Your phone is gone. And it's strange. It's a really weird feeling to like go back to a decade ago where I didn't have a phone on me all the time. And I don't even have the temptation of going to get my phone. It's strange. But I would say I have an answer now for my challenge. I've been doing a lot of 3D printing of different objects and tools that I can shoot with. And I'm realizing now I don't really have a direct way that I'm going to use 3D printing in my work, but I know I want to. So I guess that's sort of my challenge this year is how the heck, I spent like 900 hours 3D printing stuff, and I just realized like I still don't really have a clear solution and path. How is this going to apply to my photography? So I hope to figure that out.
So you can put your cell phone in the K-Safe. You mentioned dieting.
Oh yeah, it's meant originally. I think it was meant as a lockbox for like cookies. So yeah, chili dog, whatever. Yeah, cupcakes, whatever.
Cool.
Highly recommend it. I swear to God.
So every year I have a travel challenge, and I'm finding it harder and harder to keep up with it. So I try and visit one country in every single continent every single year, and then I increased it to 2 African countries, 1 Asian country, 1 South American, and 1 Caribbean. So this year I have a list of about 10 countries. Normally it's about 10, 11. So I'm hoping I can make all 10 this year. Countries to visit and to carry on with the photo project as I do that. So that's my biggest challenge.
Sort of falls in line with a little personal project, isn't it?
Yeah. Every year I carry on that personal project. I look for synergy between cultures, which is where my street photography comes into it. It's like really searching to see what kind of, how migration has kind of developed over time. And that's all come from my own ancestry. My family's kind of come from Brazil to Africa and different parts of the world, so you can see all these synergies.
Alright. My biggest thing is I want to automate systems. Like I want an automated system so I can get my life back and have a better work-life balance.
So it's a good, looking into the future, where do you see photography going? Who wants to feel that one first? It's great. iPhone 10, XX Max,
Can I? Yeah, so I considered writing a paper on this whole thing about where I see photography going, and I don't even think it's photography, it's multimedia, right? I actually think we will develop, again, hold on, I think we should also put a time frame on that, because I think we will develop artificial intelligence that will start taking some of these photographs and bringing concepts and ideas. I saw something on Google the other day where they have this camera that takes a photograph of something and then in low light or something like that, and then it now just kind of makes the pixels based around what it thinks should be there. So you can take a photograph at night and it will show you what it would look like in the daytime, sort of thing. So I reckon that the concept of taking photographs will change. It wouldn't be just sort of taking a photograph of something, but it's like taking a photograph of an idea and then bringing that idea to fruition. That's what I reckon.
No, I was just going to say defer to some of my talk yesterday because I think I expressed pretty clearly you'll be able to enter basically any digital imagery and do literally whatever you want with it. Post-process your focus, your lighting, your the actual expression of the people. Totally lost my train of thought. Peter, go ahead.
Well, I was just going to bring up, and this is not like way out in the future. This is happening now. A lot of photographers come to me like, "Did you see this photo booth that takes headshots? And are you worried for your job?" And I'm like, "I'm not worried at all. Like, nobody's going to direct that person. Like, the 1, 2, 3 doesn't work. How the heck are they going to get a good expression in a photo booth that doesn't say anything to them? Unless I go in there, maybe I'll work on an app that talks to them while they're getting photographed. So it might be like me behind the camera or something, you know? I mean, but you guys, like, we obviously this industry that we're in and what's happening is continually under continuing change. And as a photographer, you worry about where your source of income is going to come in 10 or 15 or 10. What's the longevity of this? But you're going to change. We're going to figure it out. And there's always going to be an artist inside you that's always going to be needed, I believe. So I'm not worried about any of that stuff. Trying not to.
Can I piggyback off that just because I now I remember what I was going to finalize. We have one huge advantage in photography is that a photo is sort of instant gratification compared to a video. You don't have to sit down for 2 or 3 minutes to experience it. I mean, you can if you want, but photos are just incredible because you can passively experience it without having to do anything. Or if you want, you can sit down and really stare at it for a while. So you just have this instant gratification that I feel like isn't really going away. As people's attention spans get shorter and shorter, the photo becomes more and more appealing. You don't have to commit 30 seconds to watching that clip. But yeah, so it's piggybacking off of hopefully. Sorry to interrupt.
Let's hear what you have to say.
We're waiting for the future.
I guess what I would envision, what I would love to see is, okay, because I love to travel the world and see different things, but I wish there was a tool which would allow me to see what everyone else is doing at the same time during these things. So, yes, I know there's Google and stuff, but some sort of tool that could aggregate all the photos and allow you to quickly see all the different photos and experiences out there.
I was thinking it would be cool, would be something where you point the program into your hard drive and it looks at all your photos and does all your keywording for you. How cool would that? And that's got to be coming. That's got to be coming. And God, that would be awesome. I mean, imagine, I need an ocean shot. Yeah, I mean, yeah, it would be incredible. Can we key the computer for a second? I just got excited on this and wanted to show you something that I think the future of photography, and this kind of blew me away. Can you bring us on the screens from the laptop? MTA train heading out to the, this is my wife and my puppy, and this is with the new iPhone XX. So this was shot, and then I turned it into portrait mode and did this in at half of a second. It blacked out the screen. So one shot, and Eisenhower, the phone did it just like that. So if that's the type of technological leaps that we're looking at, I'm scared.
Well, on that note, the iPhone is really a pretty blank, bad camera. What's good about it is the artificial intelligence, the image processing on it. So please, Canon, Sony, Nikon, Olympus, don't try to make software, get someone that can actually write software and put it into those cameras. And that's what's going to be amazing. And what's happening now, because we're all processing images and putting them online and putting them on the web and putting the Adobe Cloud and Google Photos, etc. They're not like a little lockbox. Those companies are looking at how we process those pictures. They're learning how we are processing our pictures. That's why artificial intelligence and automatic processing is getting better and better. I mentioned this in an earlier session. Okay, so we're all contributing to making these pictures better. And so I think that having that artificial intelligence do that for us and make the cameras have better software is really the way it's going to go. And then we'll have to come back in a year and see if we're right.
You know, to that point, I don't know if Zeiss has it out, but they showed it in Photo Plus.
It's not out
It's
yet.
not it. But Zeiss has a camera that has essentially an Android iOS system, an Android system built into the camera.
Well,
And
it's
it has
actually, oh, sorry.
Well, it's got Creative Cloud CC.
It's got Lightroom built right into it. So when you're shooting, your one hand's on the shutter, your thumb is literally driving Lightroom to control the exposure. And you can, I mean, it's amazing. So it's shoot, process, share, and your eye's still in the viewfinder.
And $8,000, it's not big.
Where's that gift certificate?
Look, the future's coming, and it's going to change things. Whether photographers, we've always faced this. When the red plate process gave way to the same print, when they started selling emulsions onto paper, when the Kodak Hawkeye came out, I mean, it's always technology drives it. I remember Katrin, when the Litro camera came out, you were an early adopter. You got it.
Great paperweight.
Where's Litro now? It's unfortunate. Okay. Okay, thank you very much to our lovely panel. I hope you guys enjoyed our kind of off-the-wall questions. And this is the second time in Dublin Hill that we've had a panel where we bring up you guys amazing people.
Okay, it's a good and two telephoto lenses, right? So maybe an 85 and a 50 or a 28 and a 35 in my case. Purely based on the fact that if things get damaged, you may not have access to new stuff. So I show a lot of work in countries where you don't even have electricity sometimes, and you don't have access to internet, you don't have access to some of these things, and that's where that's come from for me. I had a situation where my hard drive in my laptop somehow froze. The first time I turned on the laptop and I saw a question mark come up. I'd never seen that on an Apple Mac. And I went on Instagram saying, guys, this came up, what is this? And everyone was like, you're screwed, you're screwed, you're screwed. That was the response. I kid you not. And I think I had about 30 responses till someone said, yeah, your hard drive is busted and you need to bring it in. Ever since then, I never ever put any images on the hard drive. And I always have backups and all that kind of stuff. Same with the camera, kind of work and operate in that sense.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are ready. And the winner is Jerry. Jerry Chitola. Jerry, are you here? Would you guys like to, hold on a second. Watch this. This is why we asked for your phone number. You ready? We're going to put this on speakerphone. Why did you judges pick this as the single? What was it that really that knocked it out of the park for you?
I think the main thing that I found appealing about it was just kind of the delicate consideration of the lighting. It's very painterly, mysterious quality of light. It was really compelling.
I would say I connected very much to it. Definitely the lighting. It's whoever. I think. Did you say Jerry?
It's
Anyone can say they're Jewish.
Jerry Chitola.
Yeah, I think he clearly knew what he was doing. Compared to a lot of the other single portraits out there, it was the one that really stood out. And there were a lot of really good technical ones out there, but this one really had a message for me. That's one of the reasons why I picked it.
I would agree on that. It just shows a very
Hi, Jerry.
proficient use of light, but it's not just direct.
This is David from B&H. Hold on. How you doing, Jerry? Hold on. Oh. Hi. So Jerry, check this out. You won the single portrait category in the Depth of Field Challenge. Jerry! Everyone cheered for you. I couldn't hear what you said. Okay. We have a $1,000 B&H gift card for you. Did you know that you had to be here to win it, though? I'm only kidding. No. We're going to email it to you, okay, Jerry? Thank you. Congratulations. Good job. All right. $1,000. Wow, Jerry. That's a fun phone call to make. From B&H at Depth of Field. How you doing? Good. Oh, really? You should come down to the main stage. We have a little surprise for you. Really? Okay. Allison, come on up here. Hi, Allison. We'll just. How's it going? We found a lens cap with your number on it. Congratulations, you won couple portrait. And you got the full job. And you got a $1,000 B&H gift card. Wow. So congratulations. What are you gonna buy?
Well, I just launched a production company, so I have a lot to buy.
Hold on, let's get your picture here. Let's make this official. Come on over here. You're a judge. Get over on the side.
Wow.
That's a judge.
Thank you. Well done. Good job. Oh, this was done in the low-key lighting experience. Pretty cool. It is Fabian Aguilar. Bobby, are you here? Congratulations, you're here. All right. Well done, sir. Well done. Shake your hand. Good job. So it was up in the low-key lighting, right? Cool. Smile for...
Please.
This is what polarizers are for. $500 in gift cards. That's like 25. That would be cool to it. Like where else could you win $2,500 in gift cards? Like B&H would be like the perfect place to win it. All right. Bring it on up. This is the champion. The Big Kahuna. Big Kahuna burger. And it's a small one. This is really good. This is really good. And this just really shows a lot of creativity. Okay, so the grand prize winner is Jose Casillas. Jose Casillas. That was a cool shot. And wow, we're going to get to call call him up.
One of the things that was interesting about this photo, it is a very, very tiny print, and it was on a board against other physically larger prints. And it was the first one, when we, all started looking at this collection that all of us gravitated to, and I just thought it was fascinating. The print size being so small didn't really affect or take away the impact of the real photo. So I'm sure we could all say lots about it, but that was one of the aspects I thought was most fascinating.
And what's interesting is it's not an American number. This is, yeah. We may have to email 5583. So 001?
52.
What kind of 011? 01's different.
He's here.
Yeah.
Hey, how's it going? Congratulations. Where are you from? Mexico. I love Mexico. Right on. Beautiful. Congratulations. Overall. What? 3, 2, 1.
Shabazz!
Just want to note here that Peter Hurley was not a judge, so there is nothing, you may know him, but there's not, he's just on the stage by coincidence. The judges are Tamaya, Petronella, Sam, and Jeanette. So first off, you got to put it, you got to get the best. Are you a little in shock? A lot in shock? How would $2,500 in B&H gift cards send it out? And a depth of field challenge vest, B&H vest. Set that vest on for size. It was really well. Okay. Now, oh, I'm sorry,
That vest fits perfectly over that puffy jacket.
Beautiful.
Wait.
Okay, well, now turn around and put your arm, give it Arnold Schwarzenegger pose. Turn a little more this way. No. Okay, here we go. Dun, 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 dun. Congratulations. So, before you go away, why did you pick this one? What was the...
Well, I was thinking about doing something different.
And basically there was a lot of prints, and a lot of times there are voices in your head telling you that you get.
Were you concerned about doing things small?
I was worried because up there they weren't printing more. So I must say that I didn't know this girl. Nana, where are you? She's here. And yesterday I saw her, and because I do fashion and stuff, her profile is just amazing.
So I hope you enjoy this video. Please like and subscribe. This is just for informational purposes, but those of you out there that are trying to up your game in photography. Thanks so much for watching Hairstream TV in NYC.